check with my cameraman. Hey, cameraman, are we live? Well, yes, we are. Okay, let's roll. All right. It's a simple operation here. All right. Talking about the presidential debate. I finally suffered through it. Didn't look forward to it, but I was asked by two of my greatest fans. I'm gonna give them a little plug because they deserve it. Mom and Dad. Mom said, "Well, we like your videos. When are you gonna do one on the debate?" Well, here I am, Mom. I've always wanted to do this on TV. Hi, Mom. So, John Kieran Sr. and Leslie Kieran, my mom, you've asked for this. You got it. They're the reason I get to enjoy thinking critically, enjoying the successes I've enjoyed in my life. They've planted some really great concepts on how to live since as long as I can remember. And so here's to you, Mom and Dad. This video is for you, especially since you asked for it, Mom. So here we go. All right. I have other fans, I hope, but I know Mom and Dad are watching. That always makes me happy. All right. So overall thoughts about the debate. One, this is a debate unlike any other presidential debate, except for maybe 2016 between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I say that because now we're 5.5 weeks as at the time Chris Wallace said from the election, this close to the election in today's kind of culture, everybody's made up their mind. So it's not a debate where you try to win the independents. Thank you to Dan Benjanino. I'm sorry if I murdered your name, but I saw him talk about that in a video. I completely agree with him. These debates are about securing your base, because if you have a strong enough base, then make sure they vote, because it's not going to be decided by independents. I know people who are probably going to vote Libertarian, and I don't have a problem with anybody voting for Trump, anybody voting for Libertarian. I forget her name, I'm sorry, and anybody voting for Joe Biden, as long as that's who they're really voting for, what they think they want in a candidate. If that's true, vote away. That's your job. That's your right. That's your duty as an American. Do that, okay? No matter who it is, just make sure. I would appeal to everybody to make sure they know what they're voting for. Don't wait till afterwards. That's not a good time to find out that you made a mistake. So, all right. Moving on. Oh, the other main concept. I did find concepts in the debate that both candidates agreed with. They just had a different approach on what to do about it, or what their assessment of it was. So that's awesome. Joe Biden said it himself. He said, let's do it together. Yeah, good, Joe. There were some moments where Joe got my attention, man, and I almost hate to say that because of things I've seen about Joe that I can't get over. Just some of the creepy stuff that I don't even want to talk about it, y'all. It's a election year. You've seen it. I don't need to. It just cringe is an understatement. I don't want to go there. Joe is not incarcerated or anything, or charged anything like that. So he's in this debate. So I'm going to talk about that and not get off on that tangent. So, anyways. There were a number of issues they agreed on, and I'll try to run through them quick. I have 3 pages of notes. So, somewhat they agreed on some points of Obamacare. That was a complex issue, but there were some points that they agreed on. Pre-existing conditions, both candidates are very supportive of. Give me just bear with me. closing businesses is bad for, it hurts America. Both of them agree with that concept. Buy American, both of them talk about buying American to help support ourselves and grow ourselves, become greater. I can't resist. My dad taught me Dad, you taught me to buy American since Chevy, Ford, and Dodge, and it was like Ford's our fix or repair daily, and Dodge is weird, so go with Chevy. Now, I've grown up since then. I own a Dodge truck. It's a great truck. Not at the time, not at the moment, but it's 18 years old. I'm going to put a new motor in it because I want it to keep it going. It's been a worthy vehicle. Fords, I'm sorry, that's what my dad said about them. At the time, he used to be a Ford mechanic. That's what his assessment was back in the 70s, maybe 60s. It was a long time ago. Fords have changed since then, so don't hold him to that. There's a lot of good things Ford does, and I'm really looking forward to purchasing a Ford in the future. I do have a Chevy currently. It's, I love it, but there are some things that need to be different. I mean, really. But that's my latest purchase, and pardon me for that. Okay, you've turned something on without my permission. That's great. Get off my screen. Swipe. So, I'm not against Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, for the record. Buy American. That's a two-edged sword, as we found out in the 80s. Well, now Americans build crap, so just because we're supposed to buy American, that doesn't mean we're building good products. So the whole thing has to come together. That includes all of us. We drive where that goes, okay? See what I did there, drive. If we build good products and we buy American and we build good American products, that all works. So everybody's got to have the same patriotic level of support for their country. So, which I'd like to get back to, because that was really great in the 70s and 80s. Like, bring back patriotism. What the hell is going on with this? Oh, America's not great. Okay. You want to talk about something where you're somehow offended, okay? Look at what we have. This culture needs to be more grateful, right and left. We need to look at what we have and be like, thank God and our lucky stars and everything that's holy that we have it, okay? We're free to go where we want in this country. We have roads to drive on. We have infrastructure that's like roads and fire departments and police forces and I'll get to that in a minute. I know that's politically incorrect for CNN, but we have it. We have anything that is good for the whole of America. We have national parks. We have so many things that you're not going to get in countries like North Korea. Okay? You don't get to go wherever you want. You don't get to have any career you choose. You don't get to pick your mate that you live with or are married to. Like, you don't get to do these things in other countries. You get to here. Can we back up from the politics and go, whoa, we've got it made here compared to other countries. Let's make that better, okay? Let's do it a better job of doing freedom, okay? Stop talking about how it's bad. Okay, I will go into a big rant about that. Let's move on. What else do they agree on? Bit of the coronavirus. There was tentative possible parts of agreement. Law and order. Joe Biden might not have said those words, but he did say he wants to not defund the police. He wants to overfund them. He wants to add more training, and he used systemic racism as a reason. But I don't think we just wait for that reason. I think we have other reasons we need to improve what we do with law enforcement. We definitely don't defund it. But it was interesting that Joe was very positive about law enforcement, even though he may or may not have said it. I couldn't hear in some of the arguing words, but he might have. We also, what else? Violence is not acceptable, Joe said, which both candidates agree with, regardless of what CNN says. Joe went into a little bit of discussion about what people feel like and how that affects child self-esteem, and some of those concepts were true, and I think President Trump would agree with, since President Trump has talked in the past about we as a civilization want to protect our less fortunate, our weaker members. We want to help them because they need us most. Like, these guys, okay, they agree with each other on some of this stuff. Joe was saying we look down on people. That was political, I think. But he said, let's do it together. Okay, Joe, yeah, 100%, dude. Let's do it together. And actually, in the closing debate points about accepting the election and moving on, Joe was really good about that. Yes, Joe was like crystal clear. And he said, and Donald Trump will too. Both of us are going to accept it because it's done. It's been decided. We move on. We live with our decision, a collective decision. And I'm like, damn, Joe, I didn't see that coming, man. You did really well with that. So kudos to Joe for that. And to do it together, like, I think those were, from what I've seen about Joe Biden to date, and I'm talking before he was vice president, as a senator and so on Sunday morning shows and so on, we could use a little more doing it together. Either way, it can sound political, but I don't know. I think there's an improvement you can make in your life there, Joe. That's my opinion. Suburbs are integrated. I was surprised Joe Biden brought that up, because here's a quote. Unless we do something about this, my children are going to grow up in a jungle. What does that mean, Joe? No. If you've changed your ways since the 70s when you made that comment, more power to you. But you made a few other comments that, in my world, they hit my racist meter all in the red. Like, if my opponent wins, they're going to put y'all back in chains. Okay, Joe, that's not necessary and very racist. I mean, you got the first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean. That one that almost broke the meter, racist meter. Like, that's all the way, dude. It broke the alarm, man. It hurt my ears. Like, dude, that's racist. That's racist. So, I'm not going to read them all. Joe makes lots of errors in racism in his systemic way of thinking. So, at least in the past. So, I'm all about changing for the better. If that's you, Joe, more power to you. Like, change for the better, man. Stop being racist, because they're on my other screen. Like, that shit is bad, dude. That nobody gets to say that anymore. We don't do racism anymore. I don't know if you got the memo. Okay. Community policing. So there. Yeah. Okay. That's some degree of disagreement there. So that's not one they agree on. Okay, that's enough. So they agreed on some topics. That's great. That's what the point of a debate is. How do you see it? What are you going to do about it? Okay, so they talked about the first subject was the Supreme Court nominee, and her name's Amy something. I apologize, Amy. I don't know what the rest of your name is, but there's like 3 of them or something. So Amy's good enough. Everybody knows who I mean. So Joe said the American people didn't get to decide. Well, yes, they did in 2016. Like, Donald Trump really hit this one dead spot on when he said Yes, the people got to decide. I won the election, and we have the right, and in my mind, he has the duty to make a Supreme Court nominee now, not wait. So I don't. Joe wants to spin it like, well, people didn't get to decide in November who is nominated now, but we can't make it be November. It's October now, Joe. Get a calendar. And it's the October in the 4 years Donald Trump was elected president and the Senate was elected Republican. So it sucks to be you on the other side, Joe, but that's the Constitution. That's what it does. It serves the best interests of the people at the time. Okay? So I didn't like Joe's answer, obviously. And then he switched it to a bunch of issues like Obamacare and women's rights and pre-existing conditions and Roe versus Wade and COVID-19. It's like, Joe, hold on, dude. The question was, should he nominate somebody? Like, okay, all those things might be something she rules on, but that's not the question. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next question. Obamacare versus Trump care. Basically, the answers I got out of that were Joe wants bigger Obamacare. He wants to expand on it and grow it. And Trump wants better health care, regardless of whose name's on it. He's not even looking for a Trump care to believe his name is a legacy. He's not. And honestly, Obamacare is not Obamacare on the law books. It's called the Affordable Health Care Act. What the hell part of affordable is it? Because everything's gone up since then. Health insurance costs, medical costs, until Trump started cutting some of them, they were just... America's healthcare was the most expensive in the world. You're not going to pay any more anywhere else. Yeah, actually, a lot of Americans were going to other countries for drugs or medications, healthcare providers. Like, y'all are killing us. Like, okay, so that's the problem in America. It's the cost, not the provider or the health insurance. So Obamacare addressed the wrong thing, and costs went up. And I think that was by design, but that's my opinion. Excuse me. Need to wet the whistle. So, I think we'll keep it score here. We'll get 1 for Trump, 2 for Trump. So, of course, I'm voting for Trump, and I see everything. I don't see everything he does as good. Let me clarify. I see what he does as a benefit for the American nation and people and our future. Okay, so I know there's some. I could even debate some of my own vote here about healthcare, but number one, when somebody mentioned that somebody in Trump's administration said, I think Biden mentioned it, or Chris Wallace, but somebody brought up that somebody in the Trump administration or supported Trump said that Obamacare was unconstitutional. The mandate of, mandate's unconstitutional. Let's just start with that. If you got to do a mandate, you're overriding your powers, dude, or woman, whichever the case may be. Governor Abbott. Mandates are bullshit that says, I get to decide, not you, and I know what's best for you. No, you don't. But a mandate to force people to purchase health care insurance is not constitutional in my mind. Or if it is, we need to make some kind of constitutional amendment that says, if I am president and I want everybody to go to my theme parks, y'all have to buy theme park insurance or memberships, or you have to pay me a fine, or the government. Like, you don't get to do that. No. You can call it health benefits and theme parks. I could say, well, that's for the mental, psychological health of the country. Bullshit, okay? It's something that you wanted, you stuck in there, and you wanted people to have to do. That's what it is. So let's call a spade and bullshit. All right. Government mandates. Yeah, that part was unconstitutional. I'll figure out why. See, I have an agenda too. Two can play that game. All right. I probably can figure out why. I think it's unconstitutional, but I haven't given it that much thought, and maybe I never will again. because it's no longer a law. Thank you, President Trump. All right. Then the next thing was, will the Democrat candidate Joe Biden pack the court or end the Democratic filibuster? And Donald Trump, of course, was interrupting a lot. And Joe said, "Will you shut up?" Really, Joe? I thought we were supposed to talk presidential if we weren't Donald Trump. Nice job. It's like, wow. Okay, but all wit aside, or whatever you call that, what I just did. I think, well, I'll move on. Will you shut up? I just thought, it's nothing else that was interesting. Maybe not becoming of either candidate. In my opinion. Well, when Joe's, it's interesting, like sometimes the Democrats do it to themselves, like score points against themselves. Like he was talking about packing the court, answering the packing the court and ending the question Chris Wallace asked. And then he started talking about how Donald Trump knew back in February about the COVID virus. It's interesting you bring up the past, Joe, because it's not the future right now. And I don't know, if you delay a Supreme Court justice nomination with those Democrat tactics that are possible, you're inhibiting the constitutional process. So you want to talk about the past or the future? It's not either one. It's today right now. So it's just a weird, strange reaction to a question about dealing with the Supreme Court nomination now. But moving on. We got lots of heated discussion about vaccine. I think, to me, the bottom line is, personally, I don't want a vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, because I know that's gonna be in some people's minds that are pro-vaccines. It's like if you're either pro-vaccines or you're an anti-vaxxer. I kind of hate the ultimatums in any social concept like climate change. Like, you're either all for climate change and every cost that we can possibly spend on it, or you're anti-climate change. All right. Since when did these people invent the sun and the moon and the stars and the planet Earth? Like, it's been here 4.545 billion years. We've been on it this long, okay, as human beings. We didn't kill the planet. It's not going to disappear and evaporate in 8 years, because we've used up 4 of AOC's 12 we have left. And clearly, the guy she hates is president, so clearly we used up 4. They didn't get better. So the climate change didn't improve. So I was a little relieved to hear President Trump say, yes, there's a degree of climate change caused by humans that I agree with, because that is to a percentage true. So well, I'm going to continue with that, and I'll get back to the vaccines. The problem we have with climate change, and there's 3 things. One, is it mostly caused by human beings? No scientists, that 97% scientists agree was bullshit. Like, Obama knew that wasn't true. He bought over $10 million he spent on a Martha's Vineyard beachside property. Like, if the oceans are going to rise 20 feet, why would he do that? Okay, he's betting climate change ain't real. At least not real, caused by humans. So 97%, that's been debunked. And I know even saying that it's been debunked doesn't mean it was nowadays, especially even in this debate. But because Hunter Biden did get $3.5 million from the Russians, okay? Just because he doesn't, whatever. Just because Daddy says it didn't happen doesn't mean that's, and it's been debunked doesn't mean that's true. But one small simple fact that will just trip you up over human caused climate change. in 50 million years ago, in the Cambrian era, the Earth had 7 times the carbon in the atmosphere that it does now. If that means we're going to have a runaway greenhouse planet or climate like Venus, then it already would have happened 50 million years ago. We're at a real small amount of carbon in the air, and so one is, are humans causing it? 2, if humans are causing it, and the major producer of this climate change, global warming that they're talking about, that no climate change theorist will debate ever. They'll give speeches on it, but they won't debate with anybody. That's off limits because they might be wrong, and it makes them money. So they're not going to talk against. They're not going to even open it up for debate. But anyways, that should signal something in your mind right there. Do humans cause the destruction of the planet through climate change and global warming? And if we do, can we do anything about it? And if we can, how much will that cost? Is it cost effective? Is it possible even? That's the real debate. Okay, so I think if we stop talking about Green New Deals that cost, as the president said, $100 trillion, more money than the United States can even produce gross national product in 100 years. If what good is the Green New Deal? I mean, it's not a deal at all. It's a dance with the devil is all that is. The biggest issue with approaching the climate change question. See, I agree with Donald Trump. Like, we want clean air, clean water. Let's keep the planet beautiful. We can't even do that, for the love of God. Like, America's been doing really great. Like, we're cleaning up our oceans. We're trying not to oil spill so much. Like, we suck at that too. But I mean, most of that was the British coming over here and pumping oil into the Gulf. Oh, thank you. We wanted to eat petroleum shrimp. Well, by the way, where did they go? Like, that was a lot of oil. Like, I don't see the petroleum shrimp. The minute they plugged the leak, there was like, it's okay to eat fish from the Gulf. Really? How does that work so quickly? But I digress. Back to the topic. I'm having a Joe Biden moment. You know the thing. Okay, that was so unfair. All right. I really feel bad for Joe in just that issue. Like, man, somebody should tell you to stop. Like, your zipper's open, dude. Zip it up. Like, don't do this anymore. It's his time of life, man. It's just time to relax, dude, and enjoy the rest of it, because this ain't right, dude. But anyways, what I just did wasn't right. So climate change, if we were to try to reduce the carbon in the atmosphere with the Green New Deal, here's the problem. The sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. When neither of those are happening, like nighttime, calm night, or, you know, wintertime in the north, like where it's cold and you need heat, or nighttime when it's cold and you need heat, almost anywhere. How do you keep the power going? Well, you can't, because the wind's not blowing, the sun's not shining. Then what do? Well, you need to draw on electrically charged storage. The cost of storing electricity enough for this, let's say the state of California, just for one example, who they think they're going to do this, is $38 trillion just for the infrastructure to store enough power to keep cities and homes powered with electricity when there is no sunshine and there is no wind. 38 trillion. Okay, California can't do that. Like, they don't have that kind of money. As a matter of fact, California is deeply in debt, and they have one of the highest tax rates in the country, state tax rate. So somebody's not doing something right out in that state. I'll leave California to figure that one out. Okay, Thank God I don't. I live in Texas, so. Okay, so AOC's Green New Deal. Even if it were signed into law, it'll never work. There's no. I know you don't have to be factually correct. You can just be morally correct, but you can also be morally correct and freeze to death, starve to death, or cook to death in warm climates. Like, you do have options if you're not factually correct. Yeah, girl, go with that. Okay, we got down to vaccines. I think I'm going to do another show, like part 2, because vaccines. So I'm not anti-vaccine. Vaccines do charge a lot of emotions in me because of my experience being a father. And every time one of my children got a vaccine, they would go into 20-minute upshoots of their fever into convulsions, like in 20 minutes. Like from 98.6 temperature to 103, 104, 105 in 20 minutes after being vaccinated. Now, does that mean that the vaccine caused that? Well, no. I don't have scientific proof of that. Does that mean my daughter could have died from the convulsions from whatever caused them? Yes, it's possible she could have. But you know what? The greater good no longer becomes an issue when it's your kid and she turns blue and she's not able to breathe. You get a whole new concept of what the greater good is. You'll be willing to sacrifice to hell with greater good when you want your kid. You want your kid to live. Like, it changes things. Okay, maybe I'm wrong when I want my kid to live and other kids die because of it, but I don't think that's the case. But if that's the decision I'm making, well, God help us if we have to make that decision. Back to vaccines. You want to tell me that you'll never not vaccinate your kids because you're going to do what's good for the greater good? Who told you that it was? Okay, I went out on the CDC just to do some research. What's in vaccines? And I'm not going to give you away all my research. I worked hard for that, okay? You do yours. But there are some ingredients, and it's on the CDC's website right now. I'm sorry, the CDC. Is it the CDC or the FDA? I think it was the CDC. I can research that and get an answer. Anybody who wants it, just ask me. But when I was doing the research, I found on a government-supported website, that one of the ingredients in the most vaccines can cause permanent mental damage, brain damage. But they quickly played it off, and they didn't say it like that. The way they put it was very pro-vaccine, like, well, you know, in certain tests, you need to know that it's possible that, and it's like, okay, stop with the bullshit, okay? Does it have the potential to destroy psychological or mental function or not? And basically, because of what they're saying, they had to say it does because of the results of the tests. And it's like, okay, well, how significant is it? And they do answer that, because it's not significant at all. You don't need to worry. Well, of course not, right? But do you believe all that crap? You're going to put your kid's life on the line for it? Now, I'm not saying vaccines are bad. Polio was a nasty thing, and it's been eradicated mostly. I've heard that some parts of it are coming back because somebody didn't vaccinate their kid, or whatever reason. But so do your research. I'm not saying don't vaccinate or do vaccinate. Do your damn research, okay? And decide for yourself and your children. And guess what? It's still a free country. You still get to decide. People don't know this, but everybody thinks, well, if your kid's going to school, they have to be vaccinated. No, they don't. Not in Texas anyway, not if you have an affidavit. But that's more research for you to do. I already raised my kids. You do yours. Okay. All right. yeah, so let's see. Let me do a part 1 and part 2. Again, this part 1 is dedicated to Mom and Dad. Thank you for all the years you suffered and struggled and tried to make sure that I was going to make it in this world. I made it this far, and I think I'm going to go a little further. So, love you, Mom and Dad, and love you, the rest of you watching this video. Thank you for your support. Oh, I got to tell the cameraman. Okay, cut. Go ahead.